Hello, my name is Kylie and today I'm going to talk about my top fantasy books. I love the fantasy genre because authors can do so many things with writing, plot, characters, creatures, the world. What's not to love? So today I'm going to talk about 8 series or books that I think you should read if you would like to get into fantasy. First off, should be no shock to anyone, the Harry Potter series. Harry Potter means so much to so many people because they are such great books. If you have never read fantasy before, these are perfect for you. Oh, I don't know where I'm going with that. And these are perfect for you if you're younger because you grow as Harry grows in the story. The books in the series include Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Woo! The next series I'm going to talk about is the series that really got me into adult fantasy. Reagan at Peru's Project could not stop talking about this in her 2013 top favorite picks. I'll leave a link to that video down below. But she said this series would be great if you haven't read any fantasy yet, and I agree with her. And that is The Codex Alera by Jim Butcher. In this series, people have control over elements called Furies that they are attached to. This is a really great pick if you want to start in fantasy and you don't know where to start. The books in this series include Furies of Calderon, Academ's Fury, Cursor's Fury, Captain's Fury, Princeps Fury, and yes, this bothers me that this is a tall hardback and the rest are mass market paperbacks. Ooh. And First Lord's Fury. Next is a trilogy that I just recently completed, and that is the Mistborn Trilogy. I do not know how long I could talk about the Mistborn Trilogy, but it would be a long time. My camera does not have enough memory for that. This series is so great because Brandon Sanderson writes in such a way, Brandon Sanderson writes in such a way that the story just hooks you in and there is never a dull moment. You love all the characters, you love what's happening in the plot, and you even love the world even though it's kind of a dark and dismal place. The books in this trilogy include Mistborn, or The Final Empire, depending on what copy of the book you have, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. Next is the only book on my list that is a standalone, and that book is Elantras by Brandon Sanderson. Some people do not like this book because his writing has gotten so much better since this first book that he published, but I like this book and I find myself thinking about this world more than almost any other world. And that's crazy because you only get this one book to live in that world, and in Mistborn you get 3 books. This book would be a great place to start in adult fantasy because it only has 3 points of view and the storyline is pretty easy to follow. Elantras is about this city that had godlike creatures in it, but something happened and now they're kind of lepers, and you follow one of the characters as he's in this city and you follow 2 other characters as their lives intertwine. Next is also a book that I've talked about recently, and that is Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. If you can't tell, I love Brandon Sanderson considering that 3 of his works are on this list. I have only read 1 of the Stormlight Archives books, but there are currently 2 published, and I really hope to read that second one soon. The Way of Kings is such an epic book, but it is so easy to follow because of Brandon Sanderson's writing. Since that book is a little over 1,000 pages, you might not want to start there with adult fantasy. What is the second book in the Stormlight Archives? The first book in this series is The Way of Kings, and the second book is Words of Radiance. Thank you, Siri. Next is also a series that I've talked about recently, and that is the Gentlemanly Bastard series by Scott Lynch. This series is just so much fun to read. I'm currently reading the 3rd book right now on my iPad. If you love scheming and pickpocketing and all things fun and sassy, I think you would really enjoy that fantasy series. The books in this series currently include The Lies of Locke Lamora, Red Seas Under Red Skies, and Republic of Thieves. Next is a series that only has currently 1 book out, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is a fantasy in which there are 3 different Londons, but there's also magic stones and portals that people can pass through. The 2 main characters in this book really remind me of some of the characters in Mistborn, and maybe that's why I loved it so much. I mean, the main protagonist in this book is named Kel, and one of the main characters in Mistborn is named Kelsier. Coincidence? I think not. I'm really excited to see what Victoria Schwab has in store for us because I really liked this first book in this series. Next is a series that I've only read 2 of the books for, and the 4th one recently came out, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This series follows an assassin named Selena Saradathian and all of her kick-assery. Books in this series currently include Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, The Assassin's Blade, which is the bind-up of the novellas, and 2 books which I do not currently own, and that is Heir of Fire and Queen of Shadows. Look at my bookshelf. Look at all the books. I had to take off my bookshelf for this video. So there you have it, guys. Those are all my favorite fantasy books currently. I'm saying currently because I want to read a lot more adult fantasy. Leave a comment down below telling me some of your top fantasy picks. Until next time, goodbye!